did this, the super rich actually didn't solve the problem, but they became major philanthropists, and therefore we have the Rockefeller Foundation and the Ford Foundation and the Carnegie Foundation and so on, and now we have the Gates Foundation and so on. It isn't, and that's why I don't want to, the problem is not just the super rich, it's the rest of us. But economically, how can we appeal to sound businessmen? And the answer to that is, I think, there is really good data in support of the claim that I made quickly about the cost to all of us of ignoring the talent over on that side of town. I want to give you one, just end with an anecdote. I spent a lot of time, really most of the time actually, hanging out with people in local communities across America. We happen to live in New Hampshire. I spent a lot of time with the Relevant Reform Group in New Hampshire, which has it's a pretty successful group because it brings together the leading industrialists and the leading bankers and the leading trade union people and hospitals and political figures and so on, including the best politicians, the most powerful politicians in New Hampshire. And New Hampshire, you need to know, is an incredibly conservative state in fiscal terms, so we have no income tax and no sales tax, and nobody can get elected unless they submit what's called the pledge. I pledge never, ever to talk about either income tax or sales tax, and that means our public services are poorly funded. I was at a meeting, including both the leading political figures of the Democratic Party and Republican Party, and the largest employer in New Hampshire, who happens to be from New Hampshire. His family has been there, it's a family firm, they've been there for 4 generations, he said. And he said, my family's been here for a long time, we feel identified with this place, and we don't like paying taxes any more than everybody else. But I'm saying to you politicians, if you don't stop with this nonsense about the pledge and failure to invest in early childhood education, I'm moving my plans because I look forward. I'm not looking forward to the next quarterly dividend. I'm looking forward to what my business is going to be like 15 years from now, and I can see that the real constraint on my growth here is not taxes, it's do I have enough talented workers? And he knows the data as well as I do that New Hampshire and anybody else that has this problem is throwing away such a high proportion of people that is just nuts. And he can do the math. He said it would be way better for my business if you taxed me and my executives more and plowed that money into my workforce. And I can't do that alone, he said. I can't myself afford to pay for the whole, universal pre-K for everybody in New Hampshire. But you can, because you are public officials. And I wish I could bottle that guy and bring him to every time I talk. Because he's a Republican to begin with, and he's not a faint-hearted, airy-headed liberal. He's looking at his bottom line. Is that responsive to your question? Thank you all very much.